Let's turn our attention now to the Motability Scheme. Now, we had a lot of talk about benefits, disability benefits, PIP, those personal independence payments, and a lot of people claiming these. I mean, just huge explosion in the number of people claiming these in recent years, many for mental health problems. But it's now emerged that we've got extraordinary amounts of people who are able to claim their Motability cars. Some 32,000 new cars handed over for people suffering from anxiety and other depressive disorders in recent years. 800 going to people living with obesity. You'd have thought they'd be better off walking, wouldn't you? It might be good for them. Extraordinarily, people with tennis elbow and even constipation getting these free cars. Why? Let's talk about this with William Yarwood. He's from the Taxpayers Alliance and joins us now. Good afternoon to you, William.
Good afternoon, Julia.
Thank you for joining us. Now, can you just break down and explain to us how this scheme works? Because I've been reading something like 1 in 6 cars or something on the British roads now is a Motability car. A number of people are claiming them. How many of them are there, and how do people get them, and how much does it cost us, and how much does it cost them?
Sure. Well, actually, I think it's about a third of the used car market at the moment are ex-Motability cars, Julia. So it's actually grown quite significantly. So, yeah, so as we know, there's PIP and then there's the enhanced rate of PIP as well. But in the enhanced rate of PIP, there's a mobility component, basically how on earth you can get on with your daily life. Do you need help moving and so on and so forth? And people can trade in that top rate of enhanced PIP for a Motability car.
Right, and that top rate is roughly around the 12 grand mark a year.
Yeah, roughly around there, Julia, and this allows them to get onto the Motability Scheme, which allows them to choose from a variety of cars, some very old bangers and low down cars, but also some quite nice cars as well. And of course, these cars are road tax exempt, they're insurance exempt, and you get a new one every 2 years. So if you can get onto this gig,
so you can just get a new car. I mean, I don't even own a new car, and I pay my own way. But I can understand. So if you've got that 12 grand, you can put that towards a car that could cover the cost of a car, or you could put it towards a new car. You pay the extra, you pay the difference?
Yeah, you can pay. Yeah, people do pay the difference, but often it's taxpayers paying the difference. If I'm honest with you.
Oh, really?
Sometimes it is. Yeah.
So someone's getting a BMW, but they'll say, "But I need." Why would we say you can have a more expensive car when you could easily buy a car for 12 grand that was second hand or third hand?
Yeah, and I think that's the core question, really. I think the Motability Scheme started off relatively uncontroversially. For the last 40, 50 years, it's never been in the public spotlight because it wasn't abused in the way that it's been ever since COVID, Julia, because people have started to realise, after their exposure to the welfare state since COVID, what they can actually get. And as you said earlier, there are people who are obese, who are alcoholics, who have drug misuse, who get the enhanced rate of PIP and are able to get cars like this. I mean, you said you can't afford a car. I can't afford a car either, Julia.
I can afford a car. I don't understand why you'd want a new car when you can do literally a minute after you drive it off the forecourt. It's lost like a third of its value or something. I think it's insane. Unless people are hiring a car. Also, I barely drive. I mean, our car's got cobwebs most of the time. But that's because I'm lucky. I live in central London. But most people, they do need a car. And again, a lot of us would say, well, yeah, people who are, severely disabled, physically disabled, or physically disabled child, that we'd want them to, if they're on low income, to be able to get around, get to hospital appointments, maybe be able to get to and from work. I mean, PIP is supposed to be about encouraging people to work and making it easier for them. So again, most people, good moral people, would think this was a good thing. But basically, this has been expanded out of all reality to people. Again, I don't know why, if you've got constipation or even if you've got depression, why you should be entitled to get a car. But also the fact that it's not just you that gets to use it. So it's your friends and relatives too. You can nominate various people to use it. So they get the car, presumably also the disabled badge. They get to park right close to the, to the entrance to the supermarket or the cinema. There's a lot of benefits to this.
Yeah, of course there is, and actually we found at the Taxpayers Alliance that actually one of the big drivers behind people getting the enhanced rate of PIP and therefore onto the Motability Scheme are things like ADHD and anxiety. I'm not quite sure if you're anxious, you should get a taxpayer subsidised car from the state. I mean, that may, but because
I actively don't want you to be driving. I mean, alcoholism, drug use, ADHD, depression. I really would prefer you weren't behind the wheel of a car.
Yeah, quite. And I think the core problem of us, Julie, you ask about how this has exploded, and it's since COVID, because there's been a key thing that's happened both inside the DWP and to do with PIP and universal credit and enhanced rate of PIP, is in-person assessments have completely collapsed. So before COVID, Julia, about 80 to 85% of people were assessed in person. That's a decent chunk of the population, right, who are using that system. Yeah. Post-COVID, Julia, it's between 2 and 4%.
Oh, wow, because everyone's working from home. And have there been incentives? We've seen with the PIP, the personal independence payments, that there's actually been an incentivisation for staff to basically, there are keywords people can say, and they know how to play the system, and there are TikTok videos telling you what to say. Mention the word suicidal, bang, you're up there, enhanced, you're eligible for all this stuff. But there's also incentives in the system to encourage people who are doing the assessments to basically go, yeah, and then they're signing everyone on.
Yeah, indeed, and that's just part of the overall problem. If you've got a system like you've just described that incentivises this kind of thing, how on earth are we going to ever reduce the ballooning size of our welfare bill?
Well, we're
not.
Farce. I mean, we're not. We know that now. The government has basically said they're not. But how much has it exploded? We were told it's like 600 million quid now. But I mean, we're told this is, tens and tens and tens and tens of thousands of cars. Those numbers don't quite add up to me. Is it not costing far more than that?
So if that's the statistics we know, Julia, but as you know, there are three kind of lies. There's lies, damn lies, and statistics. So it could be even worse. And also these statistics are just, I don't think they're from the last year. I think they're maybe from a year or two ago.
And it's expanding all the time.
Indeed.
Okay, so what would you reckon that taxpayers, because you've been finding out an awful lot of how these things are. And again, a lot of people aren't upset about a project because they think, people who need a car, they need a car. And then we'll go, well, hold on a minute, you don't need a car, so why are you getting a car? But particularly, again, if you're obese, I'm sorry, we're not giving you a car. Walk, even walking to the bus stop is going to be good for you. But how do we solve this?
I think the first point, as I mentioned earlier, is you need to get these assessments back in person. Like, you cannot assess whether anyone's properly mobile over a Zoom call, Julia. I mean, we're having a Zoom call right now. Could you assess if I was properly mobile with mine? Exactly. You'd have no idea, right? But if I said a few trigger words at you, if you're a DWP assessor, you might go, as you said earlier, tick, tick, tick. Oh, there we are. Onto the Motability Scheme you go. Yeah. So I think that's one thing that needs to be done quite quickly, actually, and that's one thing the government can change right now. But also, just overall, the benefits and welfare system just needs to be clamped down on in terms of eligibility, like anxiety, mental health issues, all things that are real, by the way. I'm not dismissing people who have those issues, but there is a medicalisation of the ups and downs in life that we have in this country now, which is costing taxpayers billions upon billions of pounds. And as we saw last week, Julia, Labour aren't particularly interested in solving this, are they?
They definitely are not. My dad said it all ballooned under the Tories, and again, it's still allowed to happen, and they didn't get on top of it. A plague on all their houses, I think a lot of us say.
Plague on all the houses.
William Yarwood, really good to talk to you for the Taxpayers Alliance. Thank you very much. They're doing God's work at the Taxpayers Alliance. They really are.